Hey guys, Emily Muccianti here, and I am back with a video about reading intervention. But today it's going to be a little bit different because this is really about a mother's journey. And this is my journey as a mother. And it might get a little raw. And before I get into it, I want to remind you to please like this video if you like it, subscribe so you don't miss anything, and please just share it with at least one other person who could benefit. So let me back up a little bit. You guys may, if you follow me, you know that I'm a reading specialist. You know that I've been in intervention, but what you may not know is that so much of my journey has been shaped by my son, my youngest son. His name is Ben. And I want to show you. Look at that cutie. So this little guy, when he was, about 3 years old, I could tell that we were going to have some issues. Attention was not this kid's thing. It was a tough thing for him. And as a teacher, I knew that attention was so vital to students learning how to learn. And I became a little obsessive maybe and started to really panic. And so I started to really watch him like a hawk. And it was a really scary time for me as a mother. I hope I don't cry during this conversation. So when Ben started kindergarten, he was so excited to go to school because, of course, I talked school up and it was going to be a great thing. And we started kindergarten, and it didn't take very long for him to start to hate it. And he started to hate it because he started to feel like he was a bad kid. He was kind of getting in trouble because he couldn't sit still. He was having a hard time paying attention to the teacher, and it really started to affect him and how he felt about school and how he felt about himself. And as a mother, it broke my heart. And as a teacher, it really broke my heart too. So we started to explore the concept of, okay, are we dealing with attention deficit? Now, let me just say, as a teacher, I knew it. I knew it because I've seen it for so long. And my husband, who was, he was the father, but didn't have that background that I did. And so we started to watch, started to do all the things that we were hoping was going to help, making things really multisensory, talking to his teacher, who was wonderful. And we survived kindergarten, but it was tough. And honestly, in all honesty, he really did lose much of his kindergarten year. There wasn't a lot of learning that was taking place because he just couldn't attend. So we got into first grade, and he had another wonderful teacher who happened to have 3 sons of her own. And I remember asking her at a parent conference, I said, okay, is this just a boy thing, or are we dealing with more? And she said, oh, honey, we're dealing with more. And I was so grateful that she was willing to be honest with me. Now, I was a teacher in the district, so I knew all of these teachers on a personal level as well, and that really did help. So with that, I decided, okay, now we really have to do something. And so we jumped into I reached out to my school psychologist friend and just got some information. And I was really thankful and blessed to be connected with the school because everybody was there to help me. I knew they loved my son. I knew they cared about our family, and it was really good. So we had an actual assessment with a neuropsych, which I highly recommend if you're thinking attention deficit and if you're exploring your options. Don't just rely on your pediatrician. Go to a neuropsych and have some concrete data. So he took the TOVA, which is a measure of attention, and realized that, yeah, he was pretty much off the charts for attention. And that left us with, okay, we knew now we were dealing with more than just our gut. There was something here, and we had to make a decision as parents. And the question was, do we medicate our first grader or not? And I was torn to bits. I have to be really honest. This was probably, as a parent, one of the most difficult times and one of the most difficult decisions that I had ever made. And I was struggling, and there were a lot of tears and not knowing what to do. Was I a bad parent for medicating my 7-year-old, or was I a bad parent for not, because I knew he couldn't attend, which means that he couldn't learn like he was meant to learn. And my husband, God bless him, said to me one day, Emily, it's a pill. If it doesn't work, we'll stop taking it. And that was what I needed to hear. Like, this was not a permanent decision. Prior to this, we had tried Mountain Dew. He had Mountain Dew in his teacher's fridge, and he would have a half of a Mountain Dew because a little bit of caffeine did give him a little bit of, what do you call it? Attention briefly. Now, I am not a doctor. I am not giving medical advice whatsoever. I just want to share my experience here with you, because I know so many of you as parents and teachers and parents really struggle with this. So I do want to be a little more vulnerable than even this. Now, sadly, I really looked at my son's difficulties with attention as a reflection of me as a parent and as a teacher. And I was at the time really concerned about how would I be perceived? You know, my own child was really struggling learning to read. Here I was, the reading specialist at the middle school at the time. And I struggled with that a lot. So what we did is we decided to medicate, that we were going to see how it worked and back out if we didn't. And in conjunction with this, like, how does this all relate to reading intervention? So my son's school had an amazing reading lab developed by a couple of amazing forward-thinking women that put together really the model that I still stand by and promote in all of my videos. And so my son at first grade began to attend the reading lab, and I would go in and watch on occasion. I would observe this lab because I was in grad school at the time, I believe. And I was just so impressed with the procedures, the process that the lab was doing. And I was really happy with my son's response. So we started medication, did a little adjusting, and it comes with some side effects. And so that was something that we had to wade through. It wasn't a perfect solution, but what it did give him was an opportunity to learn. And all of a sudden, this little boy who was struggling with learning to read could attend and was reading and finding success. And he started to grow. And from first grade through third grade, he stayed in the reading lab. He was caught up. I think he may have been there a little bit in fourth grade also. But my little boy that couldn't sit still was now the best reader, honestly, in my family. He was the one that I could not get books into his hands fast enough. He was the reader. And it was just the most, I guess, I was so happy, but there was a weight that was lifted, because I knew that if I could help him read, that anything else was possible. And the reading lab at his school was directly responsible for that, along with all of his amazing teachers that, you know, like I said, loved and cared for our families. Sorry. So I'm telling you this story because my cutie pie here, my little, remember that cute little, look at that happy face. This little guy turns 20 this week. I'm going to cry. And he is completing his first semester of college, and it wouldn't have been possible without the reading intervention and the team that was there in place. And it was, you know, we call it Team Ben, and that's why we're going through that. So when I tell you how passionate I am about intervention, It's not just from a professional standpoint. It's my journey as a mother, and attention deficit, and seeing the amazing things that could happen for our students. And we hear all the time that if we can't get our kids to read by third grade, that basically they're doomed, and they're really not doomed. I want to make sure you know that they're not doomed. They are still, we're still laying the foundation, and it can still work for them. It might be a little harder, but it can be done. And this kid is a grown man now, and pandemic kind of held us up a little bit. That was a challenge, but I couldn't be more proud of my son. And I couldn't be happier for the educators and reading teachers and RSP teachers and everything that helped us along the way. And so I hope that this video, sorry about this, I'm so not a crier, but it's raw, I guess. This is why I do what I do. And so if you're a parent and you're struggling with attention deficit, please know that there are so many things that can help you along the way. And if you are a teacher and you're working with kids with attention deficit disorder, please know that what you do is so important to them, because they might get lost or distracted in a big group, but when you bring them into those small groups, man, some serious magic can happen, and you are truly changing the future of a child. If you would like to join me in this journey, visit me at readinglabsos.com or join us on Facebook, and my Instagram should be up and running pretty soon, Reading Lab SOS. Email me, readingdiva06@gmail.com. And please know that I am here to listen, to help, to share, and for a whole lot of reasons. And I hope that you see your cuties like my Ben, and you do everything you can for him, because it makes a difference. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your heart of gold. Much love to you, and see you soon. Bye now.